Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark.
Clark. Even yet, Caitlin Clark has made it clear that her trip is primarily about relaxation and rest. Her trip to Europe might mark the beginning of something much more significant than a basketball holiday. There are suspicions that Clark would be using this time to investigate potential deals with European clubs, however, nothing has been confirmed. Could this purported getaway become a long-term relocation overseas? The idea that Clark might be being courted by Europe's premier leagues to leave the WNBA is gaining traction. Let's look at the details and determine whether Caitlin Clark's European vacation is a hoax. Caitlin Clark has chosen to take a well-earned vacation in Europe following her record-breaking debut season in the WNBA, which at first glance seems to be a relaxing trip that includes sightseeing and golf. Clark has even made jokes about becoming a professional during the off-season.
I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do the next day. So maybe play some golf. I think that's what I'm going to do until it gets too cold in Indiana. So I got that. I'll become a professional golfer.
Behind the scenes, though, there are whispers that Clark may be chatting with European basketball teams during her visit. Clark has stated that she enjoys playing golf and that she is now taking a break from basketball.
It's going to be nice, though. I think getting out of the spotlight and just getting to live my life and do things that I want to do and, not have to sit and I love talking to all of you, but it's going to be nice to not have to sit in front of a microphone, multiple times a week. I really appreciate all of you, but it will be nice to kind of get away and relax for a little bit. And I appreciate everything you all do as well, so I thank you.
However, with the financial incentives and improved playing conditions offered by European leagues, it is not surprising that people are thinking about moving abroad. The timing of Caitlin Clark's trip has drawn criticism, despite her public declaration that she will not be playing in Europe this offseason. While on vacation, could she be surreptitiously considering her options for meetings with elite European teams? Many people think Clark's style fits European basketball, which is known for being more skillful and less physical, much better than the rough-and-tumble WNBA. Furthermore, the claims start to seem more credible when you consider that European clubs pay far more than the WNBA. Supporters and commentators are already speculating as to whether Clark is considering a move that would completely change the basketball landscape. For a player like Clark, who is already one of the most marketable in women's basketball, European leagues undoubtedly pay more than the WNBA. Perhaps the allure of a higher pay is too great to ignore. Many people question whether Clark's journey to Europe is more than just sightseeing, despite her official statement that she is merely enjoying her vacation. This would not be the first time an athlete has pretended to be on vacation in order to negotiate. A few nations having professional basketball leagues that provide elite contracts are France and Italy, and Clark's. Her shooting prowess and dexterity might make her an ideal addition to the European team. Clark would join the legions of WNBA players, including some of the greatest names in the league, who have relocated overseas for financial reasons if she were to make the move. Speaking privately with European clubs would be a logical course of action for Clark, particularly prior to making any official decisions. Before making a major announcement, may she be assessing interest in the offers? Clark is the kind of player that European teams would undoubtedly be eager to sign, particularly in Italy or Spain. Outside of the WNBA, Clark has choices that might advance her career to new heights, such as the Bon Stewart-backed Unrivaled League Heights. She could have a chance to shine on a global scale with clubs like Real Madrid or Virtus Bologna, which would also provide her with financial stability that the WNBA currently lacks. In her debut season with the Indiana Fever, Clark has been a formidable force, breaking attendance records and drawing sizable crowds. But some have questioned if the WNBA is the best place for a player like Clark because of its toughness and lower pay. The key question at hand is whether Clark will pursue the lucrative prospects overseas or remain in the WNBA. Clark's shooting, playmaking, finances, and strengths appear to be a good fit for European basketball, which offers not only greater pay, but also a playing style that would enable her to build her international reputation without having to cope with the physical demands of the WNBA. Not to mention the trip's timing. Clark is at the peak of her career, with a plethora of options ahead of her and more competition from international leagues for WNBA spots. Her status as a world-renowned basketball player would be cemented if she relocated to Europe, in addition to being a smart financial decision. Is Clark the next well-known person to make a move? Elite sportsmen frequently keep their next movements a secret until everything is finalized, is completed. While talking about golf and leisure, Caitlin Clark has maintained her composure, but in reality, she has all the cards. She is well-positioned to make a transfer if European organizations extend proposals to her during her purported vacation. Additionally, the WNBA might be rocked if she decides to quit. Simply consider the headlines. Caitlin Clark has been actively promoted by the WNBA as one of the league's future faces. Therefore, Clark and the league as a whole would see a significant shift if she left for Europe. However, could the WNBA risk losing its best player if Europe offers her better pay and a more appropriate style of play? With rumors, fans are wondering if Clark is about to make a move that could fundamentally change the women's basketball scene as rumors circulate about potential talks with European clubs. Keep an eye out because whatever comes next will surely be a game changer for Caitlin Clark and the basketball community.
It's going to be nice, though. I think getting out of the spotlight and just getting to live my life and do things that I want to do and, not have to sit and I love talking to all of you, but it's going to be nice to not have to sit in front of a microphone, multiple times a week. I really appreciate all of you, but it will be nice to kind of get away and relax for a little bit. And I appreciate everything you all do as well, so I thank you.
Although Caitlin Clark's complaints about the league's officiating and physicality have received a lot of attention, there might be more going on here. The league is seeing an increase in racial tensions, especially in light of Alyssa Thomas's recent charges. Was the racial controversy the final straw that made Clark consider options overseas? Without a doubt, Clark had an amazing inaugural season, breaking records, reviving the Indiana Fever, and introducing the WNBA to the world. She had to contend with tough physical defense and controversial no-calls like Dyke Carrington's well-known eye poke, though, as a result of her rapid rise. Clark said in an interview following the Fever's heartbreaking playoff loss that she felt protected by the league's officiating. "I feel like opponents get away with things that other players don't, and I'm getting hammered."
Yeah, I think just being competitive is who I am. It's what I've done my whole career. I think at times there's ways I can probably channel it a little bit better, but that's just basketball at the end of the day. That's never gonna change. I'm never gonna lose that. I feel like I'm getting hammered. I don't know. I appreciate Chrissy getting the text too.
The physical toll alone was draining. Nothing better demonstrates Clark's growing dissatisfaction with the WNBA's off-court culture than the recent racial incident that was started by Alyssa Thomas after the Fever's playoff loss. Instead of discussing her team's victory, Alyssa Thomas took the stage to accuse Caitlin Clark's support group of racism. Thomas claimed that during her 11-year career, she had never experienced such hatred, raising the possibility that racial intolerance contributed to Clark's unanticipated rise to fame.
Honestly, it's been a lot of nonsense. I think in my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base. We had her face on a serious matter that happened in this world, and it's unacceptable, honestly. And there's no place for it.
This was more than just a comment about trolls or hate speech on the internet. Instead, it was an accusation directed specifically at the league's new fan base, many of whom had started watching because of Clark. It implied a connection between Clark's largely white fan base and her fame. It's clear that Clark may have reached her breaking point as a result of this racist narrative and the physical abuse she has experienced. She has become the most divisive woman in the WNBA while being the face of its expansion. According to Thomas, race, not skill, was the reason behind Clark's fame and the attention she garnered. This must have felt like the final blow to Clark's ego since she had put in countless hours to establish herself on the court, but suddenly she was at the center of a racial controversy that she had not requested. Primarily due to events that were beyond Melissa's control, Thomas openly charged that other players were using racial problems to stir up controversy. Clark finds herself in the midst of a political and racial uproar during her news conference, which could lead to her leaving the league completely. Clark made it clear that she had had enough, despite her refusal to face the racial claims head-on. "I need a reset," she said. "I had to get out of here." Many believe that this reset could include relocating to Europe in order to focus on her game without being distracted by outside factors that have harmed her WNBA career.
Basketball was something I absolutely loved to do, but there was a lot of other things I had to have done in my life, whether it was school, whether it was, emptying the dishwasher or taking out the trash. I had chores. It stunk. I think it'll definitely be a little bit of an adjustment period for myself, not really, having to do that so much. I woke up yesterday and I'm I don't know what I'm going to really do. So it's going to be nice, though. I think getting out of the spotlight and just getting to live my life and do things that I want to do and, not have to sit and I love talking to all of you, but it's going to be nice to not have to sit in front of a microphone.
With a different focus and perhaps a more balanced environment away from the racial difficulties that have started to define her WNBA career, Clark might be able to play in a league in Europe. Clark has transformed the Mania into a successful business since joining the league, boosting ticket sales by 60% and attendance at Indiana games by 400%. Additionally, her jersey is now the league's best-selling item past. There is more to Clark's possible relocation to Europe than just personal preference. It might be disastrous for the WNBA. Surpassed even games featuring well-known WNBA players like Breanna Stewart and A.A. Wilson in terms of viewership, drawing in millions of viewers. Apart from being a player, Clark was the league's biggest draw. A financial and public relations catastrophe would befall the WNBA. Clark was considering leaving when she departed. Apart from the monetary repercussions, the league might lose its primary draw and potentially its new following. Clark's departure will highlight the WNBA's long-standing issues with race politics and the struggle for equity in a league that has historically valued diversity. Should the WNBA not be able to settle the dispute, Clark's exit might set a risky precedent for athletes in the future who feel left out or unfairly singled out. Additionally, it would indicate that the league is unprepared to protect and nurture its top players, increasing the number of players in its ranks. For now, everyone is waiting to see if Clark would pack her bags and head to Europe, but she may start exploring elsewhere. It will be more than just a shift in her profession if she does. The WNBA will experience a turning point. If you think Caitlin Clark has a valid cause to think about relocating to Europe, please let me know in the comment section below.
And your 2024 WNBA Rookie of the Year is none other than Caitlin Clark. Caitlin, congrats. For you to do what you did this past season with all the crazy expectations you had coming out of college, you were better than advertised.